Merhaba. In this video, you'll explore causative verbs, the causative verb forms in Turkish. And by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to say things like, I had someone wash my car. I had my nails done. I didn't make it myself. I had it made. Where do you get your haircut? So these structures will help you talk about actions that are done by someone else on your behalf. A very common and useful function in Turkish. We call them causative because you cause someone to do the job, right? So it's not a tense, but it's a derivational suffix that turns a verb into another. And one that implies causing someone to do the action. So using causatives will expand your vocabulary and help you understand many expressions you hear in daily life. However, at this stage, it's best to focus on the examples and the vocabulary introduced here, rather than try to create your own forms. Because there are some verbs are irregular and don't follow the predictable patterns. All right, so you just learn that what they're coming from, but you're not going to make yourself like a causative verb yourself. Good. All right, so deal. Before we start with the causative, I want to remind you something, a quick grammar note before we start, because it's going to help you understand better. Remember transitive and intransitive verbs. I believe we covered this when I was talking about accusative case, the direct object in Turkish sentence, because it's about direct objects. Some verbs take direct objects, some verbs don't, and transitive verbs take direct objects. So here's an example. I read the book. The book is the direct object, the thing being read, right? As opposed to an intransitive verb, do not take a direct object. An example would be, I fell down the stairs in the building. So the stairs and the building are locations, not objects of the verb fall. So the action of falling is not done on the stairs or the building, right? So here's a helpful tip if you are still confused about this, direct object issue. Direct object is the thing the action is done to. In I read the book, the reading happens to the book. I mean, it's just the action happens to the object. But in fact, I fell. The falling isn't done to anything. So there is no direct object. Now, why is this important? Because causative verbs are transitive, even if they are intransitive when they are not causative. So you'll see it in when I talk about them in examples. For instance, yemek pişti means the food cooked, right? Ali yemeği pişirdi means Ali cooked the food. In this case, in causative example, the food is direct object. Kuş uçtu, the bird flew. Çocuk kuşu uçurdu means the child made the bird fly. In that case, kuş is the object, right? Ders bitti, the lesson ended. And then when it's in causative, öğretmen dersi bitirdi. The teacher ended the lesson, right? So it's now lesson is the direct object. All right, so this is a side note before we start forming causatives. Now, how to form causative verbs? We're going to talk about them in three groups. And the number one is polysyllabic verbs ending in a vowel, le or re, they will take the suffix te to the verb stem. For instance, okumak, polysyllabic, okutmak. Okumak is to read, okutmak to make someone read. Dinlemek, to listen, dinletmek, to make someone listen. Söylemek, to say or to speak. Söyletmek, to make someone speak. Yıkamak is to wash. Yıkatmak, to have something washed. All right? So there's going to be a list of verbs from this group. The second group is monosyllabic verbs, and they will take ir suffix to the verb stem. For instance, bitmek means to finish. Bitirmek, to make something end. Doğmak means to be born. Doğurmak means to give birth. Geçmek is to pass. Geçirmek is to pass something through. Kesmek is to cut. Kestirmek, to have something cut. Now, there's a huge list of irregular words. That's the third group. For instance, korkmak, to be afraid. Korkutmak means to scare someone. Akmak is to flow. Akıtmak, to cause to flow. Now, gitmek has two causatives. Comes with a bonus. Gitmek is to go. Gidermek is to remove, but götürmek also comes from gitmek, to take something along. Gelmek is to come. Getirmek is to bring. Yapmak is to do or to make. Yaptırmak, to have something done. You know, you might be wondering, if there are irregulars and loose rules, why bother learning it as a grammar rule? I can hear you, right? Okay, so because at this level, you're in the intermediate second class, you're ready for more complex structures and subtle nuances in meaning. Understanding causative forms will prepare you what's next, what's coming, like passive voice, for instance, which we'll study soon. And it's important not to confuse these two, right? So you may choose to memorize these new vocabulary as new vocabulary instead of focusing how it's done, where they're coming from. That's totally fine. Different approaches work for different learners. The important thing is to recognize the function and the meaning, right? So that's the purpose of learning this. Let's look at some examples, and it's going to make more sense. So first, we're going to say the regular sentence. Ayşe kitabı okudu. Ayşe read the book. And then if we are going to make this sentence into causative, we're going to, first of all, use okutmak. Okutmak is to cause reading. And the subject is going to change. I am going to be the subject. Ben okuttum. Kime? Ayşe'ye okuttum. Neyi okuttum? Kitabı okuttum. Ben Ayşe'ye kitabı okuttum. I had read the book. I had Ayşe read the book. Not I didn't read the book. I had Ayşe read the book. Ben Ayşe'ye kitabı okuttum. You see how different that is. And it's very useful too when you are talking about some certain things that we absolutely have, or habitually have other people doing for us. Like, I'll show you in a bit. But here's another good example also. Çocuk ekmeği yedi. The child ate the bread. Instead of annesi çocuğa ekmeği yedirdi. His mother made him eat the bread. Yeah, his mother made the child eat the bread. Here's a good one. Saçımı kestim. I cut my hair. So I am the one doing the job. Versus kuaföre saçımı kestirdim. I had the hairdresser cut my hair. Right? So now kuaför is the subject. My hair is the object. Ben doğdum. I was born. Beni annem doğurdu. My mother gave birth to me. As you can see, the structure can be quite different from English. So pay close attention to the examples and practice through repetition. There's going to be a bunch of exercises in your worksheet which will help reinforce this structure. As you do them, you'll start recognizing causative patterns more easily. A quick note on kendi, which is going to be used in active sentences more. We've talked about this before, but I wanted to remind you. Kendi means self, right? And it's usually takes possessive suffixes. Kendim means myself. Kendin, kendisi, kendimiz, kendiniz, kendileri. So for instance, when you say evimi kendim temizledim, I cleaned my house myself versus evimi temizlettim, I had someone clean my house. Another one, her hafta arabasını kendisi yıkar. He washes his car himself every week. Her hafta arabasını yıkatır. He has his car washed every week. Okay, so this is a line. This is a lot. Take your time, listen to the examples, repeat them, and try to build your own. Of course, we'll go over them in class. You're making great progress. Görüşürüz.